Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the Committee of the Whole to order, please. Council this evening, at the moment, is sitting as Committee of the Whole, so approval of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Ray. Questions, Councillor Casper?
I'd just like to welcome you back.
Turn on your microphone.
I'd just like to welcome you back.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, on that note, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approval? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Okay, this evening we're pleased to welcome the Victoria Foundation, and they will be presenting to us the Vital Signs report. Welcome this evening. Hi, Councillor Pearson. Sorry, you just need to press the purple button, please, or on the... I think yours is different, maybe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. Honourable Mayor, councillors, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me today. I'm pleased to come to talk to you about the 2015 issue of Victoria's Vital Signs Report. My name is Rob Janis. I'm Director of Communications with the Victoria Foundation, the organization behind the report, and I've been project manager on this project for the last few years with the foundation as well. The Victoria Foundation, along with 27 other community foundations across Canada, released Vital Signs on October 6th. This is the 10th anniversary of this project in Victoria. Some of you may already be familiar with Victoria's Vital Signs. And for those of you who are learning about it for the first time this evening, you're in for an excellent learning opportunity about your community. Victoria's Vital Signs measures the vitality of our region, identifies trends, and assigns grades in areas that contribute to our collective quality of life. The report couples citizen opinions with curated research from a variety of national, provincial, and local sources to produce a snapshot of both the perceptions and the facts related to 12 key issue areas in our region. Since 2006, the report has been rooted in community engagement. This year, a record 2,009 citizens across the capital region contributed their voices to Victoria's Vital Signs, an increase of over 300 from the previous year. Over the past 10 years, our goal for Vital Signs has remained the same: to connect philanthropy to community needs and opportunities. And we do this by better informing ourselves and our donors, by increasing the effectiveness of our grant making, and by guiding community decision-making. Vital Signs supports the three tenets of a community foundation. By providing community leadership, we attract a variety of funds, enabling us to make more impactful grants to the community. And what Vital Signs really does for us is to act as a catalyst for engagement and collaboration. It enables us to effectively carry out this role. These are 12 subject areas covered in Vital Signs. Each area includes indicator data that was collected from a number of reliable sources, such as Statistics Canada, the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, and the Capital Regional District. Along with this data, you'll find average citizen grades assigned to each area. You'll also find the top 3 things that our survey respondents felt were worth celebrating about the subject and what needed improvement. And finally, we've included an issue and response in each area. These provide samples of how we at the Victoria Foundation have taken steps to address the challenges identified by the report and make positive changes in the community. We wanted to do something special in this landmark year, our 10th anniversary. While this year's Vital Sign still contains the community indicators and survey data, we've also added 3 special features that we're very excited about. First, we included a feature article by Dr. Trevor Hancock. Trevor examines the impact that measuring trends in a community can have, and he looks at 10 years of Vital Signs. We've also included interviews from 5 of Victoria's sector leaders. They've generously shared their perspectives on how the region has changed and grown over the past 10 years. And finally, we've included a timeline that spans 10 years of milestones in the community. These are the impacts that look to address the issues raised in the report and make a capital region a place to live, work, grow, and play. Every year, we ask survey respondents to identify what they think are the most important issues facing Greater Victoria. Based on their responses this year, these were the top 5. It's interesting to note that cost of living remained in the number 1 spot for the 5th year in a row, while housing and mental illness remained in the 2nd and 3rd spots for a 2nd year. And transportation made its way into the top 5, moving all the way up from number 9 on the list in 2014. To answer the question, what are the best things about Greater Victoria? Our natural environment, climate, air quality, they remain the top of the list. This year, walkability moved up from number 6 to replace friends and family as number 4 on the list, and parks moved up to replace feeling of safety as number 5. The 2 subject areas that received the highest marks from graders once again this year were arts and culture and sports and recreation. Perhaps not surprisingly, housing once again received the lowest grade, with the economy and transportation scoring only slightly better. So now it's your turn. Let's see just how well you know your capital region. Here's an interesting provincial indicator to start with. BC is home to how many First Nations languages? 7, 34, or 103? In fact, BC is home to 60% of First Nation languages in Canada, with 34 unique languages. It gets very interesting when we look at what these figures mean locally. In 2014, there were an estimated 7 fluent speakers on Vancouver Island, 103 semi-fluent speakers, and 251 learners of the 5 related dialects spoken on the Southern Island. Okay, here's another question. What percentage of residents said they felt comfortable letting their kids play outside unsupervised in their neighborhood when we asked them? The answer is 65%. And the other good news is that 83% of people said they felt at ease with the people in their community. Another positive point is that 76% of people told us that in an emergency, they believed that people they didn't know would help them. It's nice to see that the residents of the region on a whole feel quite comfortable in their neighborhoods. One of my favorite parts of the report this year is an interview we did with 5 of Greater Victoria sector leaders. You'll see them as well as our feature writer, Dr. Trevor Hancock, on the cover of the report. We asked for their perspective on the most significant changes over the past decade in their area of expertise, as well as their vision for the next 10 years. I hope you'll enjoy reading this piece as much as I did. The answers span a range of concerns and sectors, and together give a well-rounded look at how far we've come at our region's potential. Now, speaking of our region's potential, let's go back to the polling questions and see how you're doing. This is a timely question with the federal election just over. What was Greater Victoria's turnout for the last federal election in 2011? We didn't have the most recent stats when we were doing the report. That's why it's 2011. So until last year, voter turnout for the past 3 federal elections in Greater Victoria has been relatively stable, with 68.8% of voters turning out to the ballot boxes in 2011. 63% of people took this year's vital signs survey, and they agreed that every citizen's duty to engage in activities and strengthen democracy. And 91% told us that they believe it's every citizen's duty to vote. So what proportion of young people aged 12 to 19 are physically active or moderately active during leisure time? In fact, this is quite high. In 2014, 82.6% of youth on southern Vancouver Island reported spending their leisure time being active or moderately active. This number hasn't changed significantly over the past 5 years and remains higher than the rest of BC at 78.6% and Canada at 70.4%. The Vital Signs report guides our outreach into the community as we work with organizations that take action on what citizens tell us are priorities for our region. Grants from our Vital Victoria Fund addressed many of the issues identified in Vital Signs. For example, a recent $64,000 grant to Life Cycles Project Society helped to recover 40,000 pounds of food in the region and add it to our local food system. With this funding, Life Cycles was able to distribute food to over 17,000 vulnerable people, a huge and positive impact on the 14% of households in Greater Victoria that reported being food insecure. Another concern that has often been expressed by Vital Signs survey respondents is the lack of affordable arts and recreation classes for our youth in our region. 10 months ago, we granted nearly $10,000 to the Octa Collective Society to support visual arts and dance workshops. Over the span of this year, Octa will deliver 170 workshops to over 3,500 children. Charities that receive grants like these, as well as those that have funds hosted at the Victoria Foundation, are featured on our Community Knowledge Centre microsite. I encourage you to visit this website where you can view videos and read stories of projects that take action on one or more of the 12 Vital Signs issue areas. It's our answer to the "what now" question that Vital Signs raises. You can find the link right on our homepage of our website or just Google Community Knowledge Victoria. Okay, I have a couple of more questions for you. What was the unemployment rate in Greater Victoria in 2014? The answer is 5.4%, which is lower than the rest of the rates for BC at 6.1 and Canada at 6.9. Between 2000 and 2013, the unemployment rate for Greater Victoria decreased by 17.5% overall, compared to a 14.3% decrease in BC and a 1.5% increase in Canada. How about this? What percentage of food bank users during the month of March 2014 were children under the age of 18? The correct answer is 30%. In March 2014, just over 16,000 individuals accessed food from the Mustard Seed Food Bank and its partner agencies in Greater Victoria, of whom 30% were children. This is lower than the 37% of children who received food from food banks across Canada, and 16% is the percentage of children living in poverty in Greater Victoria. You can understand why the Victoria Foundation Board of Directors has chosen food security as a granting priority. Anniversaries are a great time to look ahead to the future, but also to reflect back on successes. After 10 years of taking the pulse of Victoria, it's clear that we have a lot to be proud of as a community. Over the past few years, the covers of our Vital Signs reports have asked some tough questions, and we look forward to coming years. We haven't forgotten about these. In our 2012 Vital Signs, we asked, do our kids have a healthy future? The previous year, in response to the Governor-General's call for a smart and caring nation, we established a Smart and Caring Community Fund, and the first initiative it funded was the ABCs of Physical Literacy. We raised the question in the report, and activity levels continue to be a concern for our young people. We're continuing to fund physical literacy at the Cridge Centre for the Family and Craig Flower School through 2017. We're pleased that the Victoria Rotary has joined us in sponsoring a program at Craig Flower School. Through increased program sponsors and partners, Pacific Institute for Sport Excellence is now providing physical literacy programming to more than 3,000 children throughout Greater Victoria, including children with physical and mental disabilities and those facing childhood cancers. The following year, our 2013 Vital Signs report asked, do you know where your next meal is coming from? As we explored the topic of food security in our region, and this year we were delighted to partner with the region's Rotary Clubs, 11 Thrifty Foods stores, the Mustard Seed, and the Food Share Network to move ahead on a local food rescue project. This project will recover unsaleable but edible food from grocery stores and get it to people in the community who need it most. We're looking forward to watching the project come to life in the coming months. Victoria's Vital Signs acts as a catalyst for our work at the Victoria Foundation, just as we hope it will help stimulate conversations that lead to positive actions throughout the region. There's a lot more in this year's report, and I think you'll enjoy reading it. Here are a number of ways you can use the report and the information it offers. If you're inspired by what you read, Then use the report as a starting point for conversation and for action. Share the report as broadly as possible. It is available on our website along with sources for all of the data used. And please contact us if you're looking for ways to make a difference or want someone to come out and present to an organization or a group that you're involved in. We know the issues and those in our community that are working to address them. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation and for providing us with a copy. There's some familiar faces on the cover, especially Carrie Newman, one of our own, so thank you very much. I'm curious to know if everyone got the answers to the questions correct when they were they were surprisingly better than I thought, so that was great. Any questions or comments from members of council? Councillor Casper?
Do you get, I looked on your research sources, so how much information are you getting from work done through Island Health or the Ministry of Health? Because I know that they had done a report, 213, 214, on just, significant shifts, demographics, population, healthcare needs, income, etc., for the West Shore area, which included Souk. Did you get any information from that document?
We do get information from many of the health authorities and agencies around Greater Victoria and the province. In fact, we hire a researcher every year that works with us to curate the data from some 60 to 70 sources in the end. And she is a specialist in health data, so she does end up getting a lot of information that way. But the data that ends up going into the report really it looks at a number of different factors, four primary factors. We have a national partner agency in our Community Foundations of Canada that helps supply statistical data from StatsCan. We also take in the information from the surveys, the response that comes in from survey respondents that helps guide what indicator data we try to put into the report each year. Right. There is also we have a culmination of about 30 or more local experts that help guide our decision making in terms of the indicators and the data points that we choose each year. And then there's simply the factor of availability, which is one of the harder ones because much of the data is not done on a regular basis. It's very periodic. And so what we might put in one year, we don't want to repeat and put the exact same thing in the next year. So we're always looking for new data.
And just last point, what about education outcomes or levels of education within the capital region? Have you done that breakdown? Post-secondary, university, college, etc.? We
have, over the years, in many cases, we put exactly that kind of data. We've looked at First Nations graduation rates. We've looked at cost of going to post-secondary institutions. We've looked at education from a whole range of different ways, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Other comments? Councillor Ray?
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation. I look forward to reading the book. I find it quite interesting in the scope of areas that you've covered, and it looks great to be able to have such up-to-date statistics, so I do appreciate that. It's always nice to see something relevant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments? Councillor Logans?
Thank you for coming out here today and presenting to us. I've always enjoyed reading the vital signs reports. I think it gives a lot of insight to our area, and there's a lot of facts in here that you're like, yeah, I can agree with that, and others that are like, whoa, I can't believe that's happening.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same way.
Yeah. So it's good to put those things into perspective, and hopefully we can use a bit of this information going forward, especially on housing, since that's going to be one of our topics coming up at Council. I was wondering if you know how many youth took part in the survey, and if there's any way to, or if you've broken out which areas some of the respondents were from, specifically if any responded from our area. I know there were a few, but it would be good if you had that information.
Yes, there's a general breakdown in the back of the report, actually, is about just under 3% of respondents were from the Souk area. And there is an age breakdown there as well as a number of other factors by where people worked and that sort of thing as well. So there's a number of demographics that we were able to collect through the survey.
Great, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. A motion to receive the report, please. Moved by Councillor Parkinson. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us, and safe travels home.
Thank you.
Okay, moving into the agenda, our next item is any public input in regards to tonight's Committee of the Whole. If any member of the public has any comments or questions. Mine twice. Okay. On that note, a motion to adjourn, and we will reconvene at 7 o'clock for the regular council meeting. Thank you.